Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Wi-Fi is Out. Today, we have a pretty interesting topic, if Double T would like to introduce it.
Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
The newest installation?
Yep.
Nice. So, how are you enjoying the game? It hasn't been out very long.
I'm enjoying it really well.
Okay, let's see. So, how are you liking, the weapon variety of the game?
Since Breath of the Wild, you now get to fuse weapons together. So there is almost an infinite amount of weapon variety that you can do. From electricity swords, flame swords, bomb arrows, electricity arrows.
Okay. I will say, though, I haven't played the game. I know you have. You've been playing it since it's come out. You got it on, the release. Can you kind of, for those who also may not have played it, can you kind of give, a basic description rundown of the game in a way? Kind of like a summary of it. What it's kind of supposed to be.
You are Link.
Okay.
There is another tragedy in the kingdom. You get a new set of powers. And you just have to explore.
Okay.
And help find Zelda.
So how does this one continue off of the first one?
Basically the same way. They start you out on an island that you can't leave until you finish the tutorial, which speedrunners hate.
Interesting. How long was the tutorial roughly?
Depends how fast you go. I'd say an hour to 3, depending on if you're messing around.
Okay. Now for enemy variety, how does it have a wide variety of enemies?
I would say it has almost the same exact enemies of Breath of the Wild with a little bit more.
Okay, so they actually did expand on their roster.
Kind of it's just you got electricity lizards, you got frost lizards, you got flame lizards.
Okay, so the same type of enemy, they just gave them slight differences to mix it up a little bit.
There's
nice.
New bigger bads this time.
So I've seen that they've introduced a durability system with their weapons. How are you liking that?
I do not like that in games.
I was gonna say I dislike it a lot in games.
It's fine if there's a blacksmith that you could go pay to repair it. But there's no blacksmith. So there's practically no way to keep your weapons. So you always have to grab new ones, fuse new ones.
So if you were to can you upgrade? Do you upgrade the weapons at all, or is it just kind of you get the weapon, it has its base stats, you combine them, but that's it?
Yeah.
Because if you could upgrade them, it would be frustrating to have a fully upgraded weapon and then it breaks on you.
There's only one way to fix them, and you have to go find these octo enemies that basically eat the weapons, spit them out. They're brand new. But then you have to wait for a blood moon, which I think takes 7 in-game days.
Yeah.
For them to respawn.
Oh, gee, okay.
I haven't been able to find all of them. I just found one so far.
But you could theoretically keep your weapons that you do enjoy. It takes a lot more effort.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bummer. Now, for the the exploration part of it, because it is open world, right?
It is.
Okay. Do you want to kind of go into detail? I know you've been playing it a lot. You've done a fair amount of exploring, both. Because I heard there's an overworld and then an underworld. I don't know exactly what they use the terms.
There are 152 shrines. 102 underground, light roots, 1,000 Koroks, I think 151 booble gems, 20 sage wills you need to go find. All the armor is separated in 3 different locations most of the time.
One for each piece, I'm guessing.
Head, body,
torso.
legs.
Okay. Head, torso, legs. Got it.
7 different teardrop locations, like 7 towers. There's a lot of exploration in this game.
Okay. What would you kind of like rate your, your feelings on the exploration value? Did it have enough? Did it have too much? Did it not have enough?
It's too much.
Too much?
It does not respect your time. Because that's a lot.
I mean, go into detail though. I would like an argument on how this game doesn't respect your time with the exploration, considering it's an open world sandbox ish kind of where you can create stuff.
The shrines and light routes are fine because they are fast travel locations.
Okay, that makes sense. Have a lot of those.
The booble gems are for every single cave that you find. You have to go defeat this enemy to get this gem. You only need like 51 of them to get the armor.
Okay.
The rest is just for a little story.
What about the 1,000 Koroks? I've been seeing people have been having a lot of fun.
There is a new type of Korok that you can attach to your machines that everybody is having fun crucifying them.
I've been seeing anything from lighting them on fire to using them as like human shields. Someone had made a video where they had built a fortress like box out of them with the like an opening for them to shoot out, and they would just go up to enemies and sit there.
Like, that's fine. My main problem is there's so much.
The first game, I believe, had 900, right?
I think it's the same.
Oh, you think both of them had 1,000? That's too much exploring, too much little side questy things for me.
Some of them are literally just picking up a random rock that you find.
Okay. I will ask though, for the crafting part of it, or not necessarily like crafting, but the building portion of the game, how are you enjoying that? Do you think they did great? Not so good?
So are you more talking machines?
Yeah, like the machines, like piecing the machines together, piecing together pieces for like puzzles.
That has been an absolute blast. Because there's auto build in this game. So you get to save 8 of your favorites. I have like a sand rover type of thing that just...
Sand bike?
We could call it that. That just runs across the sand. A hover bike for just flying. A unicycle.
Why a unicycle when you have a hover bike? Just cause.
Sometimes you just want to go on the land. It's just faster.
What's the most difficult puzzle you've found so far by like having to craft something to get you through it that you can think of?
Nothing. You just build long bridges and that usually works.
The amount of people that I have seen criticizing Longbridge has had me absolutely losing it because it's so funny. There was, I will say, don't remember the username, but they had essentially pieced together in the tutorial all of the individual like stone slabs in such a way that they literally would place it and then they'd climb it up, and then instead of having to move the whole thing, they would just slightly adjust it because it had branch off pieces that just perfectly fit the puzzle. So as they went up, they just nudged it a little bit, went up the next one, nudged it a tiny bit, went up.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I can't wait to build a mech.
Oh, so those videos that I've been seeing are actually really cool.
Yeah.
You gonna do the whole like war machine type build?
I'm probably not that good at it.
Not gonna build something as advanced as like the Hulkbuster in game.
No, I'll probably just be rip off Optimus Prime.
Rip off Optimus Prime. That's funny. Now, what about I mean, you haven't beaten the game fully yet.
No.
But what about quest-wise? Is there any sort of side quests aside from just kind of like the Korok side missions or, gathering collectibles and exploring?
Haven't really looked into that. Too busy exploring.
Too busy exploring? Okay. I just figured I'd ask because I didn't know if you'd like...
The outfits in this are OP. Especially when you upgrade them to their second level. Like, for example, I have all the climber gear. It has climb speed up. And then when you put them together, it has like jump, climb, decrease. So you get the jump higher and faster.
Okay.
So that makes climbing big structures easier. The glide gear has impact proof.
So you don't take fall damage, I'm guessing.
You don't take fall damage.
That would be the armor to use, honestly.
So in other games, you usually only find that one armor that goes, okay, this goes with the build I want. This one, you have like multiple outfits that you keep changing all the time.
So are you actually going through and taking the time to change them in between different portions of your exploring to make sure you're maximizing?
Yep. For example, the climb gear, let's say it starts raining. The rocks get slippery. I switched to the froggy outfit, slip proof. So even though I'm going slower, I won't slip on the rocks.
Oh, see, that's unique. That's actually a really nice mechanic to have in the game.
When you're fighting enemies, you switch to the barbarian armor, which already has attack up.
So what about like the items that you can get in game? Because I know there's a lot of like consumables and stuff. How's the variety on that?
For elemental attacks, pretty useful.
Elemental attacks, healing. Do you still get to cook?
There's still cooking. I have not unlocked all the cooking, but I found a crab that gives you a stamina boost when you eat it. That's been my main go-to so far.
Okay. Now that I heard there's like this whole battery system with the vehicles you do. Can you explain that?
I forgot about the batteries. So in the underground is where you farm these battery zonite crystals that you what is it called? Where you pay them in zonite to get battery. Yes.
Okay, you exchange these zonite crystals for batteries.
Yes, and you need 100 of this, like, let's call it battery juice.
Yeah.
Fine, let me just look at what the official
of this battery juice. This very simple.
crystallized charge there.
Okay, 100 crystallized charge.
That goes into a 1/3 of the battery.
Wow.
Which there is over 8 batteries that you need to do.
So we'll say 10 batteries, each one requiring 3 1/3 charges, which would be 24 times your 100 of these. So 2,400 of these crystals that you have to farm roughly, in an estimation.
Yes. So
or wait, no, 10 times 3, 30 times 100, so 3,000.
I think you get the first one free.
You get the first one free. Oh, okay, my bad. So instead of 3,000, it's 2,700.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
So a lot of grinding in this game.
I can tell. I can definitely tell there's a lot of freaking grinding.
Which is why this game is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Only an 8 out of 10 just because of the grinding specifically?
The grinding and the weapons.
The durability?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly...
No way to pay somebody.
That's a big issue that a lot of... I'm not going to say that like everyone has a complaint about durability in video games, but a lot of video games that introduce weapon durability just takes away from the enjoyment of the game because you have to spend time either getting new weapons or repairing your old ones, which is just costing game currency, and it's ridiculous.
Because with every blood moon, the enemies respawn and the weapons layabout respawn. Okay. So they want you to grind more, which just becomes a hassle.
I could definitely see it. So, have you been using the machine builds that you can do in order to take out enemies versus just using your weapons? Like cannons and flamethrowers or anything of the like?
I have not experimented with that yet.
Oh, okay. More so just the
I just been getting shrines, light roots, zonite.
So do they have any sort of like locks on the game right now, where essentially you can't do certain things or progress to certain areas? Or is it fully open world? Like, as long as you have the know-how, you can get anywhere, theoretically.
You can get anywhere. I personally haven't done it, but a streamer I watched got to the end area of the game without doing any of the first 4 objectives.
That's impressive. Does this game have like... So, I obviously, like I've been saying, I haven't played it, been asking a lot of questions just to figure out how this game plays. Is there any sort of, like, other RPG elements that a lot of others have, like skill trees, NPCs you can interact with?
Once you finish the first 4 objectives, each one gives you a sage, which are lightning, fire, wind, and water, which unlock special abilities.
Okay, so skills you can unlock.
One big one I recommend doing first is Tolan, which is in the snow area, because his special ability launches you forward with a gust of wind. So that and the complete glide outfit, you can go so much farther.
Okay, so that's impressive. What about like NPCs? Is there any interactable NPCs? Any like treasure chests you gotta find? Because that's a big thing in like JRPGs and stuff. Is like there's treasure chests hidden around that you gotta open up and get special stuff from.
Yeah, that's all the outfits.
Oh, that's just the outfits. Oh, okay. I mean that makes sense. Gotta have something, but
The NPCs, if you play Breath of the Wild, they're all still there.
no new ones. None of them got deleted. Well, unalived.
No, it seems like most of the NPCs from the first game came over. It's been like a 3-year time skip.
Wow. Is there anything else anyone that hasn't played the game would be interested in knowing that I haven't really touched on? Like the Master Sword, it's still in the game, right? It has to be.
Oh, it takes a while to get there.
Oh, okay. Late game item.
Yeah.
Dang, okay. So, based off of your experience with the game, it being an 8 out of 10, it's pretty early in the year. Do you think that it could be Game of the Year this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You definitely think, at least with based compared to the games that have currently been released. But
I think it's just because of the crafting that everybody's having fun with.
I mean, it's impressive. They introduced a good crafting system. But so originally this game was supposed to release last year against Elden Ring, but they decided to delay it, and I don't know if it specifically was confirmed that they delayed it because they didn't want to compete with Elden Ring or not. But if they had released it alongside, Elden Ring, do you think it could have won? What's your kind of take there?
That's so much harder because Elden Ring was such a fun game. I would say no.
You would say it would not have beaten Elden Ring from your own opinion? Why so? What's the big difference? They're both open world. They both have unique armor pieces that you can mix and match to get different effects. They both have varieties of enemies and bosses and a main story quest that you kind of have to compete through.
So let's just break them both down.
Yeah.
Exploration, yeah, they both have that done exceptionally. Armor, in Elden Ring, you more wanted armor to go with your build style.
Okay.
This one, the armor doesn't matter. It becomes useful in the situation that you need it in.
Okay, so situational versus build style.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of okay.
What was the other? Oh, the enemies. They both reuse enemies a lot.
I'll give you that one. Do you think comparing to each other, does one of them have a wider variety of enemies that you got to play through, so it wasn't quite as repeating? For example, in Elden Ring, you have each area has their set of enemies that are relatively reused in that area. but there's so many areas that you have an insane amount of enemies. Is that the same in Tears of the Kingdom? Is there enough different areas with different enemies that it's like it didn't feel too cut and copy and pasted?
It feels exactly the same.
Oh, really?
Each enemy is placed in an area and changed to be from that area. For example, Elden Ring had those Tyrannosaurus Rex dogs. But when you went to the giant area, they seemed to be coated white.
Okay.
So,
same dog, same enemy, just slightly changed.
Yeah.
Okay. What about like weapons wise? Weapons wise, horse wise.
The weapons, it's the durability. That's the main difference. But it's also, you grabbed one weapon to be part of your build for Elden Ring. In Zelda, it's just whatever you build at the time. But the durability, I think, is where it loses.
Okay. What about the mount system? I know that both you get horses.
I think that's the biggest thing that makes Zelda lose.
Really?
Torrent is probably one of the best horses ever. In Zelda, you have to click a button 3 times to get the horse moving fast.
What do you mean? Please elaborate on that.
So when you get on the horse,
okay,
all you can do is like spin around in the horse until you click the A button to get it to start walking. And then after that, you have to hit the A button to get it to start running. And then you have to click the A button again for it to sprint for a little bit.
And you did that. Does the horse jump at least? Because Torrent jumps. You have the double jump feature. Really good traversal.
There's been a lot of times where I tried to get the horse to jump and I refused.
Refused. The horse just looked you through the game screen and was like,
Yep,
yeah.
it stopped. I started spinning again and it's like, no, go up. Go up.
Dang. So that's the big, like, absolutely not.
Yes. That's why I've switched to just vehicles now. I've stored my favorite horse at my house that I built, and that's it.
I mean, so to put this to throw this kind of into the ether as a theory, maybe they just made your guys' horses suck, so you would be forced to build machines. That's kind of what the whole point of the game is.
I think
building
it's the
machines.
same horse mechanic as the first one.
I mean, valid, but they still suck.
Yeah.
So that's why the horses suck, is because you have to build machines now as well. Like, what about like the controls wise between the two games? I feel like you had a very opinionated comment about this.
No game should force you to play their way of buttons. We have advanced to the point where if your hand motions don't work that way, you should be able to change the buttons.
I was waiting for this question because I figured, okay, so would you like to, elaborate on which of the games has the better controls?
Elden Ring, because you got to switch it.
Elden Ring did allow you to change your controls in game. Tears of the Kingdom doesn't at all.
So, for example, you glide a lot in this game, right?
Yeah.
So it helps if you have a running start first. They put the jump button on the bottom and the glide button on top. So
You have
it's
to hit
not
the bottom
autumn,
and the top at the same time.
which, unless you have big thumbs, there's a big gap in the middle.
Did you know that your thumbs are also really long? So like you could hit, just, like your.
Then you do it.
Anyway, though, what else? What other things would because that kind of goes through all of the qualities on how Elden Ring you think would beat it. It's mainly would beat it by the fact that you can adjust your button layout. It doesn't have durability for your weapons, so you don't ever have to replace your weapons. And then the horse was better.
Yeah, I truly think if this game would have came out last year, it would have lost Game of the Year.
So that also brings me back to, by you saying that, we still have the Elden Ring DLC that we're waiting on. And Tears of the Kingdom, I assume, would have some DLC.
Breath of the
Hopefully.
Wild had DLC, so
So yeah, Tears of the Kingdom probably will have some DLC. Whether it comes out this year or not, we'll wait to see. Do you think that if they use Elden Ring's DLC, because it seems to be essentially kind of a whole nother half game, and it gets to compete against Tears of the Kingdom for Game of the Year, do you think one of them is a clear victor? If they keep the Elden Ring DLC the same as the essential...
I'll say Zelda, just because it came out this year. It's a full game.
Versus the Elden Ring would just be the DLC. Dang.
I mean, do you think there's any other games this year that could beat it?
I'll be honest, I actually think there's a few games coming out this year. So I've been waiting for a game called Blue Protocol, which is going to be another big MMO. So I don't think it would be allowed to compete for Game of the Year specifically, but it had a lot of hype around it. It was supposed to come out this year globally, and it's been delayed till next year. So going off of games that actually do get to come out this year, we've got Baldur's Gate 3, which is a huge game that's been in the makings for years by the makers, the company developer, Larian Studios, who's done Divinity Original Sin. So they've done a lot of, they did 1, 2, they did the definitive editions of both and some other games, and those games are kind of based off of the idea of Dungeons and Dragons, like rule set, and then like the turn-based combat, and they did fantastic on those games. And now they've officially been given like the go-ahead to make the third installment of Baldur's Gate, and been given a lot of creative freedom to make this for the past few years, and it's finally coming out this year. And I 100%, with no doubt in my mind, believe that it will win Game of the Year this year. There's no doubt in my mind, specifically because the amount of time, the amount of effort that they've put into this, all of the cutscenes that are coming out are actually like motion captured, but with the like body suits and stuff. Players are going to have like full creative freedom to do pretty much within reason anything they want with their characters. And then any choices you make in the game, for example, completely wiping out a town, saving the good guys, saving the bad guys, whatever, will affect your story going forward.
Sounds good. What are the other options?
Other options this year, depending on if it actually comes out, because it's supposed to. I believe that Arc 2 could be kind of high up there, although I'm unsure if it's going to actually have a story or if it's just going to be like Arc 1, where it was a survival sandbox and you didn't really get a story until later on. But those are kind of the only two that I've really seen that are coming out this year.
Some people think the new Spider-Man game.
Oh, is that this year? It's not next year?
I think that's this year, yeah.
Ooh, that one could. I mean, the first Spider-Man game when it came out, and even the second one, people loved. Because it was the Miles Morales one. They were great. They weren't bad at all. I had thoroughly enjoyed it. For a Spider-Man game, I was impressed how much I got to do.
Well, it's... Unfortunately, these awards are mostly popularity contests.
Yeah, and I think that's something that does need to be addressed for and by the video gaming community. Is it should not be a popularity contest. It should be based off of actual merit to the game. Different categories. Anything from story to, creativity to originality in a way. For example, no other Legend of Zelda game has done like machine building to this extent. I think that would be originality. I know other games do incorporate that, but this is our first Legend of Zelda game that has done so. That's super unique.
Apparently, physicists are freaking out by the concept of this game.
How so?
There's like a suspension bridge in here. You attach it to objects, and it's apparently one-to-one to real life. They're super amazed that a video game could even do.
That a video game could be that accurate with the physics. That's impressive. And that's something that it should be merited on. Not just, oh, well, people like this game more than this, so this one wins.
It's probably why they also postponed the game for a year after it was already completed to make sure all this stuff works.
That also could be a reason they delayed it versus just going against Elden Ring. It's seems like a good game. I've been entertained by the YouTuber that I've been watching, which I'm not going to do a shout out.
I'll let you borrow it for $20 a day.
Oh, geez, $20 a day. Oh, shoot. Okay, considering you haven't beaten it in a week. Oh, man, that's expensive.
Fine.
50. No, I'm joking. Take it or leave it. It's like Patrick negotiating on SpongeBob. I'll give you 5 days. 3. Take it or leave it. What? I don't think you understand how negotiating works, but okay. Is there anything else you want to touch on about the game?
It's long.
It's long. I mean, you've been playing it for a week, and I mean, the tutorial alone, people have been playing for hours. It's a thorough game. They do a thoroughly good job of introducing you to the world that they have created and the story that they're trying to feed you so that you can enjoy it.
I still think I'm going to keep to my 8 out of 10.
Pretty hardcore.
Pretty hard. And it's probably number 3 on my favorite video game list now, though.
Dang. Impressive.
Hades and Elden Ring still beat it, though.
Yeah, I mean, given. I would be surprised if Elden Ring didn't beat it if you rated this lower than Elden Ring. I would be surprised.
I think I have to, just for the fact I spent like over 500 hours on 5 different characters in that game.
I mean, to be fair, also, we live together. The amount of not addiction, but the amount of time you were willing to invest into Elden Ring consistently versus Tears of the Kingdom, it kind of seems to some extent you're having to like force yourself to go back a tiny bit. Not heavily, you still enjoy it, I can tell, but you are still like, man, I gotta go play that real quick. I gotta bring this over. I gotta do this. Versus Elden Ring, you're like, I'm so excited to get this character done.
Dying to the enemy like 25 times just to get this one piece of armor.
Anyway, that's all we have for this time, guys. We appreciate you listening. We hope you hit the subscribe button, the notification button, so you guys know when another episode comes out for you guys to listen to. And if you have any feedback for us, throw it on in the comments. We're more than happy to look through it and reply and make these a little bit more interesting if we're missing something, you know?
Have a good day.